now from Hollywood, California, the horror capital of the world, the Boulet Brothers, creatures of the night.
Okay, so here we are, and we are currently in production on a new project. And basically, that means that any inkling that we have of a personal life or any dietary habits or anything are out the window and in the trash. Swan, welcome to the show.
It's so true.
I know. So I have to tell you a story because this happened to me today just before we started.
Okay.
I was starving. I'm starving. I was over there in the office. We were doing all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you were gone and I was alone. And I'm starving to death because we're moving offices. There's no anything anywhere. There wasn't a cookie in the cabinet. There wasn't nothing. It's just water.
Right now, I need a little violin soundtrack to cue right now.
Just let me tell you the story, all right? So this is how hungry I was. I went next door and I broke into a Shutter PR box. And I don't know how long it had been there, but I remember they used to send those PR boxes and there was candy in there.
Yes.
I'm smart. So I was like,
you are smart.
Yeah. So I went over there and I found one and I opened it and there was these things in there. And I'm like, I don't know if this is food or if it's a candle. But I was so hungry that I ate it.
And
I still don't know.
Okay, so
I brought it here today.
Oh, please pass okay, you need to pass it to me.
I brought it here today and I want you to tell me if this is a candle.
I need to inspect this. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I'm looking across
First of all,
table.
does this look like it's a tea candle?
It is very nondescript. I think
Just
this could go either
this.
way. Give me that.
And the weird thing is that I still don't know.
Okay, there's literally no indicator on this plastic thing.
Open it.
And it's kind of dressed with like an orange tissue paper, and it looks like the little Reese's kind of like
that makes
brown.
It seem like it's
no, it
food.
looks like candy.
But then pick it
up.
up.
It kind of looks like it could be taffy. It's the smell. Actually, it could be a chocolate or a candle that's scented. I don't
That's
know.
what I'm saying.
Okay, hold on. Let me do a taste test. Ready?
You're not going to be able to tell still. That's the bad part.
Oh, it's candy.
You can tell?
I think it's candy.
It's so waxy, though.
It really. Well, is it waxy because it was made waxy, or is it waxy because it's been here since before Halloween?
But it could also be one of those like candles with natural scents or whatever. It's hard to tell.
It really is.
All right. Well, anyways.
And this is where we are. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast, everybody. So it's been a crazy week. We've been in production. We're working on a project that I don't think will be announced by the time this comes out. So everyone's just going to have to sit still and wait. But trust us, we're making something incredible that you're going to love.
And you'll all know about it soon enough, because that's why we're going nearly insane, because our timeline is like 2 seconds. Like we are cranking out something brilliant and we're doing it right now.
So last night we went to an award show. This is the second award show we've been to in the last month. It was actually nice to take a break and just get dressed up and go do something.
Okay, so tell me this, though. When we were starting to get into the fullness of our costume, when I sat down at my table, I was like, oh my God, why? Why would I ever say yes? Like in the middle of production, why would I say yes to make an appearance? And I was kind of dreading it until we got there. And then I was like, oh, this is fun. And I actually appreciated all of the tension and all of the stress and anxiety of doing this to just kind of party. And
it was fun. It was good to take a break. We had Ian with us, so we all got to hang out. We saw Bob, the drag queen, and Bianca, and we saw Harvey Guillen.
Yeah, and so many other fabulous people from the community.
Yeah, it was kind of fun to just see people and check in, because it's weird. It's like, I feel like back in the day, we all would cross paths and hang out at gigs or tours or stuff, you know? And then that hasn't happened for a long time, you know? We're not doing that sort of thing as much anymore. And so it was fun to just run into people and hang out and have a drink and catch up.
I agree. And when we do make appearances, it's always kind of underneath the umbrella of like Dragula World, right? People sort of know what they're signing up for and what they're getting into. And I sometimes forget, and I got reminded last night, that the drag world is large and vast, despite what a lot of people might think. there's many different tribes. And Ian reminded me because we were doing the red carpet and the photo line and all the interviews. And for those of you like trying to picture it, it's exactly what you picture. It's just like a lineup of like 10 different outlets where you get into one little box and you turn and they flash the flash bulbs and you pose and you bring up your claws and you may answer some questions and then you move to the next one and kind of rinse and repeat. And then when we were done, Ian was like, girl, there were these queens behind us. Like, oh my God, look at their eye. Oh, so scary. Like, look at them. Oh my God. And to me, I gagged it. That brings joy. But it also reminds me that, you know, what might seem so normal and everyday to us still intimidates the shit out of a lot of other people.
Yeah, apparently. I think it was fun. You know, these things, I don't know, they're weird. These kind of awards things in particular are kind of strange because they're very fan-based, but it's based off of their crowd too, right? So if you're an outlet and you're getting people to vote, it's the people that subscribe to your outlet that are voting. And I feel like that one in particular is very drag racy kind of. I don't know. It's kind of that vibe.
Oh, 100%.
But I still think it's cool. It brings the community together. It celebrates queerness, and it was fun. It was good to take a break.
There's one very distinct difference between the last award show that we went to, because the last award show that we went to, like we spoke on the pod, was the Makeup and Hair Awards for all of the most talented and creative artists in Hollywood who do makeup and hair, which we won, which was an amazing night.
Well, that's more of a like mainstream, like accredited kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're celebrating everything from the best movies, the best film, the best stage productions across the board, not limited scope. This is like mainstream. And then last night we went to the queer outlet and it was like, we lost to Trixie. We lost.
I don't know. Like I said, it's like a popularity contest based
really
off
is.
of the people that subscribe to their thing. But
Trixie's a boss in her own right too. So if you're going to lose to somebody, like she's a juggernaut.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I don't
and we
know
love
that.
her.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Trixie. Congratulations to us. Another thing I want to talk about is the tour, because we're working behind the scenes on the tour, the Boulet Brothers Dragula Titans tour that's coming up soon. I'm very excited for that. Tickets are selling out in a lot of places. I think most of the VIPs, right, and the upgrades have sold out.
I checked today. I think there are 2 spots where the VIPs are not sold out, but even those are in like the 90 plus percentile bracket of like sellout. So there's only like a handful left across the board. There's still main tickets though. Like you can still go to see the show. You just can't do the meet and greet and all the best parts.
I want the fans to help us get the word out. I want the fans to help us get the word out about the tour. Share it. Tell other people in your community to come out. It's going to be a killer show. And I'm so excited. I think the competitors are really excited too. They're no longer competitors. They're stars now. The stars, the Boulet Brothers Dragula Titans.
Yes, darling.
They're not competing anymore. Not to say that they won't ever again, but
we shall see.
We shall see. All right, so tonight we're going to do a double feature, creature feature movie review. So this is the Junior Mints Movie Club assignment of the week. And it has a bear theme. So before that, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to claw our way into a review of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and Cocaine Bear. We'll see you after the break.
Hello, lovers. It's Swanthula Boulet here, and I've got some very exciting news for you. The Boulet Brothers Dragula Titans Tour is set to terrorize the US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, and tickets for the show are now available at DragulaLive.com. As many of you know, Drac and I are infamous for throwing some of the best parties in the world, and this drag show is going to be no exception. So if you love drag that's dark and disturbed, and prefer punk rock over pretty and pink, this is it. Join the Boulet Brothers, Victoria Black, Coco Kane, Hoso Teratoma, Eva Destruction, and all of the stars of the Boulet Brothers Dragula Titans for the filthiest and most fabulous drag show on Earth. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, darlings, so get your tickets now with VIP upgrades at DragulaLive.com. Do it now, before it's too late. Welcome back, uglies. We are now joined by our co-host, Ian, who is literally the perfect person to review horror movies about bears. And we are going to jump right into this double feature movie review, starting with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. What do you think, Ian?
Well, first of all, I had too many of those weird waxy candies, and I think it's a candle. I don't know. I don't feel so good. But I'm super excited to be reviewing movies about bears. I love the bear community and movies about bears. So let's get into it.
Well, first of all, before we do, where is that
It's
box?
here, and there are more pieces. The one that I bit into, I kind of thought it was a chocolate, and now I'm not so sure.
Look at that. First of all, look at it.
They're cute, though. They look like little ghosts.
Does that not look like a candle that you like a cute little Halloween candle?
It really
Okay,
could.
so I'm gonna grab one. Okay.
Look at it. See how it is?
Let Ian do the ASMR version.
Okay, so like Swan said, this looks like a little ghost. It has two cute little eyes, although this definitely looks like one is a little lazy, but that's also my type, so it's okay. Oh, okay. It has it's a little bit of a like weird artificial. Hold on. Let me take.
Oh my God.
Let me get a little taste. Oh.
I can't wait till I find out we're eating candles. Like idiots.
You're like, it's neither of the above. It's one of those little things like you
Oh my
melt.
God.
You melt the wax.
It's a wax
and
melt, totally.
What do you think?
Okay, so at first I was like, girl, what in the hell are we even talking about? Of course this is candy. It's in a PR box. But the more it like sits with me, I'm like, oh, this is not edible. This is artificial.
And look at the bottom of it. You see how it's round? It looks like a candle.
It's because it's 10 months old.
Oh, well, I'm going to finish mine.
Okay, but hold on. Do you look at the box? That is the same kind of box that tea candles come in.
Yeah, it really is. So back to Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. This is a British independent slasher film written, directed, and produced by Rhys Frake Waterfield. Let's give our audience a quick overview of this because it's a lot.
Well, go ahead. If you think you can do it, go for it.
The hilarity is when we get like, and this has happened so many times to us, like 3/4 of the way through the movie, Drax like,
just tell them what it's about.
Tell it.
Okay, so what it's supposed to be about is it's going back. It goes back to the classic story of Christopher Robin and the 100-Acre Woods. And Christopher Robin spent his time in the woods with his friends. And I think in this iteration there are 5, which is Winnie, Piglet, an owl, a rabbit, and you don't hear – no, there are only 4. Mm-hmm. You don't hear about Tigger because the rights for Tigger haven't fallen into the public domain yet, so that's his little workaround. But there are 4 friends in the 100-Acre Woods. But Christopher Robin ends up leaving his friends, and his friends are described as hybrids, kind of like monsters. They're part animal and part man. But he's not scared of them, and he helps feed them and kind of guide them and raise them. But then he abandons them to live in the human world. And years go by, and he gets engaged, and he decides to take his fiancée back to the 100-Acre Woods to kind of expose her to his childhood fantasies and childhood friends. And when he gets back, the animals are pissed, and it's all led by a crazy killer, Winnie the Pooh. And
holy shit, girl.
Yeah.
And that's the abridged version, honestly.
Yeah, because it opens really cute. Let's dive right into the opening because I think the opening may be the best redeeming quality of Blood and Honey because it was animated. And I thought within the first minute or two, I'm like, oh, this is going to be like an immersive little fantasy. And it was cute and it was kind of childlike, but also sort of scary. Like I was so excited for the first 5 minutes.
The opening of the film is absolutely the strongest part, and I can say that with my full chest.
Let's just really dig into this, okay? I want to ask you, the animal people, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What did we think of the whole characterization and the makeup and the costumes? Like, what were they supposed to be? Is this supposed to be like a literal animal? Is this supposed to be a human in a mask that represents some kind of trauma? Or is this supposed to be...
This is the hilarity. Like, Drax bringing it to a trauma level. I'm like, listen, they explained it within the first 5 minutes. The part where you must not have been paying attention, because back to my comment, 3/4 of the way through, you're like, wait, what? Those aren't masks? Those aren't real people? They're not just dressed up like animals? And I'm like, no, they're supposed to be hybrids.
Of course, I heard the beginning like you did, but I could not believe that someone would try to say that bear with a plastic yellow hand with no claws or fur would be a real bear, okay?
Okay, but don't forget that bear with his plastic claws karate chopped someone to death. Literally.
Okay, so look, you all think after watching this movie that they were really trying to say this is a bear human hybrid with a plastic yellow hand.
Drac, I don't think I know. I
That
know that's right.
That is the movie we all saw. The question is, why don't you think that? Because that's what happened.
Okay.
Come on, Flower Zombie.
It got down to the point to me where I don't want to get ahead. I don't want to spoil it. We're doing this review. I don't want to spoil. Okay,
so look, you could tell this was a low budget film, and I think it did go into public domain, and that's why we could have something like a Winnie the Pooh horror movie, which was cool. We heard about this probably a year ago. We knew this was coming down the pipeline. So when it hit theaters, we found the one theater it was playing in, and we made sure we saw it the first night. And the masks were cheap. I was hoping that they might be able to achieve kind of like a scary quality, just even if it was eerie, there wasn't a ton of movement. You couldn't really animate with facial expressions or anything like that. But I thought, hey, if you could lean into that the right way, this could be scary. And it just wasn't.
So you didn't think it was scary either?
No, I think that it was laughable, and not in the way that I find a lot of really, really messed up things really funny, but I found myself laughing just to sort of kind of get through it at times. Yeah, I wasn't scared at all, and I didn't really expect to be scared just from the trailers I had seen, but yeah, no, I slept fine after.
So
Blood
you
and
all
Honey.
didn't think that at any point you weren't like, okay, these are people in masks, or the other thing was, you all who psychoanalyze every stupid thing we see in a movie,
oh my God.
You didn't think for a minute that this was people, but they represented something or
now
anything
she's getting
like that.
defensive.
No, I know. Oh my gosh. No, Drac, because I literally absorbed what it told me in the beginning, which was Christopher Robin had these friends.
You took
who
it
were-
literally, just straight up, that's it.
Yeah, totally.
Okay,
Well,
how
we
did
also-
they get there then? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
We also
doesn't
know
have
we
to.
know the source material. This is coming from the classic book. I mean, he had childhood friends that
Yeah.
were not people dressed like animals, and they took some liberty. They said it was some kind of hybrid, which I sort of liked because it brought us into the realm of fear. It brought us into the realm of monsters. So I
Yeah,
thought that was kind of
totally.
exciting. Then the animation came in. I was like, ooh, I was getting excited. I was about to see something really cool. And it just, I don't think they could deliver. The idea was cool. I think the names sold tickets, but the film itself was such a letdown. For me, maybe one of the worst horror movies I've seen in years.
Yeah, I'm going to have to back you up on that. And I will say what I say about a lot of painful things that the three of us endure. It was fun because we saw it together.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it was not great.
To me, the story did make a lot of sense, right? Just to look at it from a critical point of
Sure.
view. For me, this is what I would ask you. First, I'm going to make a statement, then I'm going to ask you a question. But my statement is, I think there was just no story there. People were on the side of the movie. They wanted to kind of like it, or I think people would have been fine even if it was super campy or something, but it just didn't really pick a direction or a lane.
It's interesting that you say that because I was just talking to someone on Twitter recently about a different slasher, which is Terrifier. And they were like, oh, I was really turned off by the lack of plot. And I feel like, to me, that's one of the reasons why I really love Terrifier, because I think it has zero plot. And this film also has zero plot, but I feel like it doesn't really work at all.
Because it tries to have several plots.
That's the problem.
Because Terrifier will have an absence of music or different things, so you don't know how to feel about it. This one would guide you, and it would be it'd be
music.
sad.
The full-on operatic horror
Yeah, a couple
music.
times it would be very sad, and then a couple times it went very occult, opera music, chanting.
Oh, the fucking
Yeah.
chanting.
Yeah,
Oh
the
my gosh,
chanting.
yeah.
And then it would be classic horror music.
It wanted to be
even
A24's Witch for a minute. It was showing just the woods and
yeah, it kept going all
Yeah.
over the place. And then, like I said, and I know you all saw it in a similar vein, and I saw it in a different vein. But the fact that we were all over the place like that, because I know I
Mhm.
wasn't the only person that was no, wait a minute.
Mm.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think that there were moments that even in times where I felt like there was an intention to be funny or to have something to connect the audience with, it just didn't land, which kind of made it enjoyable in that sense.
For me, I think that they tried to be so many things and tried to establish so many different striking images and storylines. There was another moment where I was like, oh my God, am I about to love at least this moment? And Piglet comes out, and Piglet is kind of warthog faced. He has multiple tusks, kind of scary. And he has this woman sort of hog-tied, one of his victims is hog-tied in the driveway, and he's dragging out a sledgehammer, which then becomes kind of like a signature weapon of his throughout the rest of the film. But it's the first time you see the hammer. So I'm like, ooh, this is good. Like, I'm about to see this girl get her head smashed, and I think I'm going to like it. Nope. He just backs away, and then Winnie the Pooh runs her head over with a Corvette.
Wait,
I'm like,
but what about this?
What?
On the animal mask front. So we have Winnie the Pooh, whose face looks more like the cartoon kind of.
Yeah.
But then Piglet does not. Piglet looks nothing like the cartoon and is just a weird warthog.
Well, I think that that's one of the issues, like to look at it from a critical perspective. The choice to make Winnie the Pooh look just like he does in the storybooks, but then to have Piglet be very, very different looking, I think is one of the mistakes of the film. Because I think that Piglet is very scary looking. But if they would have done the same thing with Winnie the Pooh or made him more bear-like, I would have been like, oh, okay, this really works. But it just ends up being very tonally strange.
Well, and where's the owl? Where's the rabbit?
I was waiting the whole film. I'm like, where is Owl and Rabbit? Even if we saw them like for a couple of seconds at the end, it would have been so satisfying because they make it a point to say 4 friends in the forest.
And they were so sad that Christopher left. Well, where are the other 2? You're not sad about them?
Well, I think that actually, I'm pretty sure that the director, writer, and producer is planning on a sequel to it.
But still, why would you hide them? It doesn't make any sense.
To talk about it in the sequel, Mama.
Oh.
I mean, to make moviegoers wonder and anticipate their arrival and then never give it to them so they can leave not only disappointed, but also pissed.
You know how, like, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, they're so giant and strange and crazy. Like, you could have did that, and at least you'd have been like, okay, this is on purpose, and they all look like that. But they did not look like they were from the same world.
No, I know. There was a moment, too. Look, it had, like, schizophrenia in so many different ways. Winnie and Pooh Bear could do different things at different times, but there was one particular point where Pooh comes out in the woods, and he gets like out of nowhere. Here are 4. Well, I'm gonna say like is the British equivalent of kind of like scary biker guys, right? And they roll up at night, and Pooh is like backlit by the headlights of their truck, and they roll up with like it's like a 1985 like music video.
Nobody has a gun. Did they have a gun? Did anyone have a gun?
No guns. They had crowbars, and they were like, yeah, we're gonna get you, boy. There's like bats and crowbars come out, and they proceed to like whip his ass, but Pooh Bear is completely unaffected. Then somehow he grows. It looks like he grows like 3 or 4 feet. This is the karate chop. He karate chops somebody's face off. He kills 3 of them in like 2 seconds, and then the 4th guy runs away, and Pooh Bear lifts his arm, says nothing, and then a swarm of bees attack the guy and kill him. And I was like, yes! Like, bring us out these the bee powers, like we're going supernatural. Like, I'm like, what the fuck is happening? I have no idea, but that was my favorite scene.
I think that that's pretty much across the board. I think that has to be my favorite scene too, because it honestly was iconic.
It was wild.
My favorite scene was when the characters that were getting pursued, like the girls or whatever, they find this granny who's locked up, and she's all beat up, and someone's been torturing her. And we've seen no hint of her before this. So we see her, they find her, and then they see her and they start asking her all these questions. They don't let her down. They just start asking her all, like, what's the weather today? Where have you been? What's this person's name? What's all this stuff. And I was laughing so hard because I'm like, I can imagine being that lady, be like, would you let me the fuck down?
Wow.
All right. Well, anyways, if you want to see Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, you need to go to the movie theaters and watch it, because as of yet, it has not been announced to be streaming anywhere, but I'm sure it will be soon. And I think we should move on to our next film. Swan, would you like to do the honors?
Yes, our next film was Cocaine Bear from director Elizabeth Banks. And this is a horror comedy about a bear on cocaine. It's exactly what it sounds like.
I like it when it's just all right there.
Very straightforward. And I kind of called this months ago. First time I heard it, I was like, Cocaine Bear is going to kick ass. Like, I don't know what it is, but I think I'm going to love it.
Hell yeah, fucking right. Cocaine Bear is incredible, mama.
No, when I first heard about it, because we talked about it on the podcast, I thought Cocaine Bear, based on the name alone, was going to be similar in quality and cohesion that Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey was. And I was very surprised to learn that it was not.
Yeah, these might be 2 bear movies, but they could not be more different from one another.
So let's talk about it. It's a pretty simple concept. There's a bear, who finds a whole bunch of cocaine
Mm-hmm.
and goes crazy and starts killing people and chasing people and doing all kinds of insane things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gory and funny, and the humor is dark and smart, and it's great.
It is awesome. I left and I was saying to myself, that was so fun. I laughed so much at that movie, and there was so much gore. Like when Drax said gore, it's gore with a capital G. Tons of like dismemberment and blood and limbs and just mauling.
Brains getting blown out.
Everybody should see Cocaine Bear.
Yeah.
So good.
So I thought this was a great move for Elizabeth Banks too,
Absolutely.
right? Now I'm like, I can't wait to see what she does next, because I thought it was so good and so unexpected, and I feel like if she stays in this tone and this lane, it would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tone is one thing that I really loved. I felt like you could totally tell that comedians wrote this movie because they were purposefully making jokes, and sometimes, I mean, I've said this 1,000 times, comedy and horror don't always mix for me, but I was laughing my ass off. I thought it was amazing, and it was like pitch perfect tone.
It was very clever, and I love when things get planted at the beginning or like somewhere along the way, and then we revisit those jokes over and over, and that I think that's some of you could see the comedic writing behind the film.
What were your favorite moments? There was a lot of great moments in this film, but what were each of your favorite moments?
I know mine, and I'm just working so much on all these other projects. I don't have the cast and their names, and I think they deserve that attention and recognition because the cast was fantastic. Like the acting was really good. It was super funny. I think the star for me was the ranger, like the female ranger.
Oh my God.
Like,
Yes,
this is like Drax. I'm like, this character is straight out of Drax's imagination. Like she's trying to get a little piece on the side. She's trying to feel sexy, but
She's got
she's
the
also
French perfume.
she's taking it real seriously. She has a huge gun, a bad attitude, and big hair. Very, very funny. But she gets mauled, and the paramedics show up, and there's like bodies all over the ranger station, and she's like, you can see that she's got like a bear scratch like right across her chest. She can't speak. So the paramedics are like, oh my God, like what's going on? What happened? And she's like struggling. And the one paramedic is going toward the other door. Cue the horror music because, hi, Cocaine Bear is in there. And the other medic that's on her is like trying to use her stethoscope to try to get a heartbeat. And she's like, well, what is it? Tell me what's going on. Like, what's wrong with you? And she's like, and the guy's getting closer and closer to the door. And then she grabs the stethoscope and says, bear. And it goes like raging through, like smashing and killing everything. It was so satisfying.
I thought you were going to mention another moment with the park ranger, which is my favorite moment. And it comes maybe I think like 10 or 15 minutes before that. The park ranger is sort of in this sort of subplot where she's trying to find out who is terrorizing people at the park. And the doorbell rings and she just kablam shoots this guy in the back of the head, and I screamed. I was like, this is so funny.
Well, no, because you see it from the front, and everybody knows the bullet hole on the way in be small, but the bullet hole on the way out, like she had her face blown off.
Yeah, and I feel like it was like one of the moments, like the first like really big gory moment of the movie. Well, actually, there were
a lot.
Oh, I mean, oh girl, there's a part where Cocaine Bear rips Jesse Tyler Ferguson's leg off and then does a line off of his leg. I was like, this is the best movie ever.
Oh, it was so good.
Well, I think my favorite part also was the gun wound because it was unexpected, but it was really funny. And it was realistic too, because a lot of times you'll see people pull out giant guns in action movies and they shoot someone and it's like, ugh, there's like a little blood on their chest. I'm like, you've never shot a gun before.
She
Clearly.
pulled that Colt 45 and I was like, woo.
Yeah.
I knew this movie was going to serve us disrespect on a level that we weren't ready for right at the beginning. The premise, it goes like there were drug smugglers who like dumped their cache of cocaine from South America or whatever over this like national park in Georgia, I think it was. So like tons of kilos go all over the park. And these little kids find the first key and they're like, that's cocaine. Like my dad, and they're making all these like family, like trashy dad jokes about coke and stuff. And they're like, well, if you've done it before, then do it now. And they cut open the thing and they ingest coke. Like they put it in their mouths, but there was something really potent and palpable. And I'm like, this is not right. And I was kind of shocked that it was happening in American theater where there were children like, 10, 12?
Oh, yeah.
With like, I mean, a mountain of cocaine on a knife and they just ate it.
Yeah.
It's like goop.
Well, I feel like that was the real 80s throwback of it. Like it was so wrong that I was like, God, this is so right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we loved Cocaine Bear, and you all loved Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Favorite movie.
So, and I will tell you this: if they make a Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, I'm going.
I'm gonna see it too.
Oh, I'm right there with you.
I'm going.
It's like a train wreck. We have to. We can't look away.
All right. So if you want to see Cocaine Bear, I'm sure it's still going to be in the movies by the time the podcast comes out. I don't know where it's going to be streaming at either yet, so we will see. But we're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we will answer all of your listener questions. Stay tuned.
Hello, uglies. It's that special time of year again, so visit BouletBrothersDracula.com for brand new merch from the wicked world of the Boulet Brothers. T-shirts, keychains, stickers, vinyl copies of the Boulet Brothers debut EP, Time to Die, and a brand new shipment of exclusive merch has just become available at BouletBrothersDracula.com. So if you consider yourself a member of the Dracula Coven and truly practice the dark arts, spend all of your nether coins at BouletBrothersDracula.com. Do it now or die.
Those ads were really good. I really like them. Let's do listener questions now.
I agree.
Annika from Birmingham, UK writes, as a serious snack enjoyer, I have a burning question for Swan and Drac. ... What are your favorite treats to eat while watching a horror movie? I feel like she should know this one.
Well, there's one that's absolutely going to be at the top of the list, which is Junior Mints.
Ooh. Movie club.
And if you get scared enough, you'll be lucky enough to have me share some with you. But for me, there's like a revolving door of like potential sweets. Drac is usually the same, and I'll let Drac talk about it. But for me, it's either Junior Mints, Twizzlers, peanut M&Ms. Sour Patch Kids. It could be any of those four. Yes.
Which actually reminds me, talking about snacks in the movies. Now, I don't know if it's a habitual thing for you, Ian, but I remember one time we went to the movie and you came back with like a party platter of like hot dog. I mean, it was a whole thing.
It was wild.
Okay, so truly, I'm reformed because I used to really like eating at the movie theaters, but I have been turned off from it because when you bring the giant platter of snacks to go see the 2018 or 2016 Halloween, and everyone's like, oh my God. Or you're like opening the thing and like Millie Shapiro's getting her brain blasted out. I'm like, I can't fucking do this anymore.
There's nothing more stressful than like you're in a horror movie and it gets quiet and you're like,
oh, that makes me so mad. Not to hear it, to do it if I'm trying to eat.
Well, everybody hates that person, but what's worse, hearing it or being that person?
Well, no, I feel like it's being that person because you don't get to enjoy the food because you're so hyper conscious of it. So now I have water. Thank you.
Oh.
That must be why Drac enjoys a large popcorn with layered butter and extra salt.
I feel like if you can hear it inside, I'm like, can the person next to you hear it? I don't know.
You really do overthink the shit out of everything.
I don't think that other people can, though. Like, I feel like they're in your head, it's so loud. But when I think about other movie-going experiences, unless someone, and I have been this person, is really like snack attacking, I never notice it.
Well, I encourage you to snack attack again. I hope that we didn't give you a phobia now, and we will not judge you the next time you get a foot-long hot dog and fries in the movie theater.
But know this, if you chomp ice the way that you did during Blood and Honey, I will be judging you
Oh
again.
my God, I'm so sorry. And I knew that was disrespectful too, because I was like, I am so fucking hungry, but like we were at this like fancy movie theater and there was no snacks. I was like, oh my God,
I tried to give you food and you rejected it.
That was at Cocaine Bear.
Oh yeah.
This was at the Look Theater.
I do love movie theater snacks. I do. And sometimes I will go to a movie that I don't have any interest in just for the snacks and the nap.
Oh no, Drac has an unbelievable memory directly connected to the quality of the popcorn where like it'll be like, remember the ArcLight Theater? God, I loved going to that theater. The dome was so fabulous. And Drac's like, yeah, it was the best butter popcorn in Hollywood.
Because I am a butter connoisseur. That's what it is.
That is what it is.
And some of these movie theaters just have hot oil and it's gross.
Ew.
It's true. That's what most of the movie theaters have. It's hot oil. Just like what they had in Blood and Honey, which, remember, they were trying to make it look like honey, but we all know honey does not pour that easily. So
honey?
It was grease.
Nuh-uh, honey.
Lucy writes, wouldn't it be fun to do a contest where fans submit ideas for challenges and the winner could maybe be a guest judge?
No.
Jamie from Glasgow asks, any idea when you'll be haunting the UK in 2023? What can we expect from the new touring cast? P.S. Drac, I hope you're happy it's a question this time and not a statement.
Oh my God.
I love when listeners have paid attention.
Oh, yeah.
We don't know the official dates yet, although I think I can tease that I believe it's going to be more towards the fall, right? Like September.
Yeah, I think they're working on September dates.
September, yeah, which I'm excited about. I think being in that part of the world during the fall would be great.
I think the most substantial difference is that these shows are going to be in seated theaters, and we are leaning into that experience. The whole show is going to be experiential. It's going to be a theatrical journey into darkness.
Jenna from St. Louis writes, I keep racking my brain for a deep intellectual question to ask, but I keep coming back to this one. Do any of you have any pets? Please describe them in great detail. Swan strikes me as a fellow cat person.
Okay, so a lot of people ask us about our pets, and I do not and will not talk about my pets. And there is a reason. I am superstitious. And we have featured a few pets on the Boulet Brothers Dragula before, and I am sad to report none of them are still among the living. And it's not because anything happened to them on the set or anything like that, completely unrelated to the show. Just strange things happen with them. And so I don't want any animals on the show anymore. And I definitely don't want any of our personal pets on there. So that's just going to be for us to know and you to never find out.
Melissa from McKinney, Texas asks, after winning a much-deserved award from the Moise Guild Awards for Best Makeup in Daytime Television category, do you plan to submit entries to the 75th Annual Emmy Awards? It would be too amazing if you were to continue your winning streak for Best Makeup, or even win in one of the other categories, such as Best Competition.
So yeah, we will probably be submitted for the Emmys this year. We were, for the first time for the Boulet Brothers Dragula Season 4, we were up for the FYC for your consideration. So I know that this year it's going to happen again. I don't know what categories, and I don't know if we'll get the nomination, but yes, we will be submitted. And that's not something we decide. That's something that the network decides. So,
and thank you, Melissa from McKinney, for asking. I love your energy. Okay, that's enough. I can't possibly take any more. We can't top Melissa's Emmy question. We have to return to our shackles in the production office, but thank you all for listening, and please remember to rate, review, and subscribe whenever you listen. And also go rate the show on Apple Podcasts because that's where all the ratings get counted. And we'll see you back here soon. Until next time, uglies. The Boulet Brothers Creatures of the Night is hosted by the Boulet Brothers with their co-host and producer, Ian DeVogler. Engineered and mixed by Carlos Bueno, with music by Neuron Spector.